What's up, people? Back to answer some more questions that y'all submitted about label life and operating DIY underground communities. I got some pretty good questions today. Figured that I didn't want to try to tag them on the other video that I just did and give them their own video, since they're kind of in-depth questions, or at least I'm gonna fucking ramble on about the answers to the questions to hopefully clear some things up for people that are looking to get involved in this community. So I'll start off with Miklo's Empty Vessel, and he asks, how much money does it actually cost to start a distro for records, tape, and merch? So, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're asking about doing an actual music label and carrying or putting out records, different types of merchandise and tapes, that's one thing, and I'll address that. But then if you're trying to do just a straight on distro, which means you carry other people's things, that's going to be a whole different cost. So I will try to answer both of those for you as best I can. To answer if you want to do just a straightforward distro of other people's titles, I would say that you would need at least a couple of grand to start out with. That way you can pick up things at wholesale prices and try to have somewhat of an inventory. It's not as glamorous as you might think. I feel like a lot of people that do distro, they just kind of have a lot of shit sitting around. I personally don't do distribution for bands and artists that I don't work with. I think like the only person that I would do distribution for would be maybe David from like Undergang and Extremely Rotten, and like because he's in Europe, and maybe my buddy Chad from Carbonized Records, but just because I have an immense amount of respect for them both as people. But with Chad, it doesn't necessarily make sense for me to carry his stuff because we're in the same market. So we would be like selling to the same sort of people. Him and I are working on a vinyl release together, and we're gonna figure out how to navigate that. But again, Chad's like one of my closest friends, and I don't really mind, you know, it's something that I just want to do. But when you do a distro, I think that what people don't understand is that you're kind of like stepping on each other's toes. Like, you know, there's only so many people that are buying this sort of stuff from us. So when you're in the same area, for instance, like America, I have labels that hit me up and ask to buy stuff from me, or people that have online distros and they want to buy stuff from me, and they want to buy wholesale from me, and I absolutely don't do it, because, you know, then they're just taking sales away from me and we're competing with each other, and it's just, it doesn't really make sense, you know. It makes no dollars and it makes no sense. It's, you know, so that's something to be mindful of, that I don't think a lot of people understand that part of business in this realm. And another reality is people that do distros, a lot of people just want to trade stuff with you. And if you have stuff that sells, they will want that stuff, and they'll want to offload shit that doesn't sell, that just takes up space for them. And I see that all the time, and I've seen so many fucking people get burned out and by running a distro and having hundreds, if not thousands, of titles just collecting dust in their house because they didn't have anyone that wanted to move it, or they're selling in the same fucking area. If you're in America and there's another label in America selling the same stuff, it just doesn't make sense. Like, especially if you're just an online vendor, it's like, dude, someone else can Google it. Like, it's not that hard, you know? So that's something that I'm definitely like, I'm not pro. I don't do that stuff. I I'll do like wholesale and allow my stuff like to go in brick and mortars, like because I work in a record store from time to time, and I grew up loving record stores. So I think that there's something beneficial in a sort of a nostalgic way for me to appreciate having things in record stores, and what bands don't love seeing their stuff in record stores, right? But if it's just somebody that's selling online, it's not for me. The distributors that I work with that do carry my stuff that I do wholesale with, they're in completely different markets. You know, I work with the Scumlord distro in Canada, and they can cover anywhere around the world, right? And then I work with a Roper Guillotine in Europe, and they can also cover around the world. But we're also not in the same market, so we're not competing with each other. And then there's another distributor in like London that buys some of my stuff, and our deal was, hey, you have to sell this only in London, because I'm like old school and respect means a lot to me. So I don't want to step on anyone else's toes. Like my other distributor, my main distributor in Europe, I don't want them to lose out on sales because this person's selling the stuff. If that makes sense to you. I hope that like it's not about it being a competition or anything like that. It's just business. And I think that, I don't know, I come from a different background to where I look at sales differently. Let's just say that. So like it's there's territories, you know, and I believe in that. So be mindful of that when starting your distro, that if you're going to do a distro, provide something that other people aren't already doing. You know, like maybe work with labels that aren't available in America and bring their stuff in, and then you'll have a better chance of having a unique distro. And you'll be providing something that people can't just find on their own. And when you're wholesaling from other labels and record companies, etc., around the world, you can bring in that stuff at a cheaper shipping rate when you get in bulk. So then you can kind of make up the money in shipping domestically. So, you know, that's really good to do. I think just look around and kind of see if it's something that you really want to do, because it's not necessary, you know, like it's a lot of work to undertake to do it and be successful at it. And you know, like I said, I've seen so many people crumble from doing it, and it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of the situation. And that's kind of like my stance on like distro. But if you start out with a couple $1,000s, you can buy enough stuff to kind of like figure out where you are with things, and you also have enough to where you can kind of make your money back, hopefully. But it's also an uphill battle. You know, this isn't like a gold mine. You know, this isn't, not everyone's clamoring to buy physical media these days, unfortunately. So on the flip side of that, if you're looking to start a label of your own, I would say that you'd probably need at least $1,000 to $2,000 just to start out with, which is going to cover, you know, a release or two if you start out with cassette tapes. From there, you can kind of judge if it's something that you want to do, and then you know, the best case scenario usually is being able to like do another run or do another thing, you know, and just keep momentum moving forward. It's going to take a lot of money and investment, and you're also going to have to build up your name, your brand, and your following and fan base to show that you're doing something worthwhile, you know. So I think that you can start out with just like 1 to 2 releases, and you don't have to worry about merch and going out all out like that, because it's kind of nonsensical. You I don't know, it's like with me when I grew up like skating, it was like, you know, fucking those kids that like bought all the skate clothing, you know, they bought like fucking the jackets, the hats, the fucking backpacks, everything. Like, if you don't have at least 5 tricks down and you're like already buying all the gear, like it's like you're kind of doing it backwards, in my opinion. You know, that's how I always thought. It's like, oh man, you're kind of a fucking poser. So like when I see labels that come out of the gate and they have more merch than they do music, it's kind of like, are you a music label or are you a clothing company? If you're a clothing company, fucking awesome. You know, you're doing what you should be doing. But if you're not, you're kind of starting off on the wrong foot, in my opinion. And that's not to say that I have any problems with merch stuff, because I actually prefer, I like selling merch. I just don't do it that often. But like I worked in retail for a long time, and like a big goal of mine was to be a clothing buyer and specialize and curate collections of clothing. So I am down with that stuff. It's just when I see record labels just come out the gate and do like nothing but merch, it's kind of like it doesn't sit too well with me. You know, it's not what I'm looking for. But you know, to each their own. Everyone can do what they want. I also know that most record labels flop, you know, and they're a money pit. You know, I have well over 6 figures in on this fucking label, and I don't have anywhere near that to my name. So just be prepared to lose a lot of money, but if it's something that you love, you know, just stick with it. You know, I don't want to be a complete downer on this situation. Just be realistic and try to make something special and unique. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Thanks for asking. The next question comes from the Body Farm, and he asks, what are some good resources for learning how to make custom cassettes, printing, pressing, etc.? So Body Farm, if you would like, you can write me directly and I will send you links to all the different pressing plants that I've worked with in North America, and I can give you the pros and cons to each. But this isn't just exclusive to you. I offer this to anybody because the more people that do it, the less shit that I have to do, and the less people that will hopefully hit me up to put their shit out. But like, so yeah, I've worked with all the major pressing plants in North America. And so I have some certain experiences with them. And mind you, I'm not the easiest person to work with. I am fucking hot-headed, and certain things do piss me off. So but I try to be somewhat reasonable because I've worked a lot of customer service jobs, so I don't like just fly off the handle and treat people like shit. But I've had not so favorable experiences with all of them. But you know, you it's all we have, you know. I can set you up with those. As far as learning how to do the printing and pressing, each website comes with templates. If you know how to use Photoshop, you should be able to figure out a way to do mock-ups. Personally, I don't know how. I'm fucking inept with digital design. It's not that I'm inept. I can do certain things, but my like OCD is like, I want shit to look a certain way and I want it to look crisp and like good, even though it's DIY. So I work with digital artists that do that for me, so that it's like one less thing that I have to worry about. If you have a digital artist friend that can help you out, it should be pretty easy that they can do. So I recommend doing that. But if you can handle it your own, fucking great. It's not that hard. Don't get frustrated. You know, it's a trial and error sort of thing. Like when I was first starting out, I didn't know anything about sizing. So I was afraid with the pressing plant I was working with. They were like a church fucking production company. Like they would always send me Bibles and weird fucking religious shit with the stuff I would order. So I never did like my J cards with them. So I would go and like try to get J cards printed locally, and you know, it would be a fucking nightmare, you know, trying to sit there and working with like the people at a FedEx or a copy place and be like, hey, can you try to print this to this size, and me not knowing the exact sizes and then just fucking around with it and then having to cut every single one of them. It was a fucking pain in the ass. So if you can get the exact sizes, you'll be set. All right, sorry about that. Just had a package delivered of some good shit. Been waiting on for a couple of weeks, so I had to go and grab that and thank my mailman. Always thank your people. So, yeah, as we were, I think it's just kind of link up with people if you can't do it yourself, and just learn, you know. It's all pretty easy to navigate once you figure it out. And the last question today comes from Herrera's Dead Body, and their question is, when is the next sale? So I'm not sure what you're asking. If you're asking when I'm going to put something up for sale or when I'm going to run a sale. Personally, I don't do sales. I already sell things at a price that's cheap enough to where there's no like, I'm not like making shit. So I actually need to raise my prices. I'm gonna raise my prices probably $1 next year. I should do it sooner because production's been going up, but like the punk part of me is saying don't do it until next year, just as like a thank you to everybody, because I just had to raise my prices recently. But the reality of the situation is prices on things have just like skyrocketed, and now it's like really hard to break even on things. And to like quote somebody that I look up to with a label, who is Matt Calvert from Dark Descent, he you know, is saying, he said it pretty eloquently, which was just, you know, tape shouldn't be under $10. I'm at $9 right now, So I think I'm gonna go to $10, just because production and costs, and then after royalties, it's like, you know, not making shit. So an extra dollar will help, you know, a little bit, but also shippings went up, and it's just, yeah, it sucks. That's the part of the business that is kind of like I struggle with, because like I want to keep things as affordable as possible, but I do know that, you know, 25 years ago, tapes were sold for more than I'm selling them for now, you know, and that is kind of weird, and especially because the costs were so much cheaper back then, and theoretically tapes should cost more than CDs, because tapes are more expensive to make than CDs right now, which is kind of fucking crazy. But yeah, so I was thinking about doing my first sale, and but I just don't know when I would do it. You know, I was thinking like, oh, I'll do a rollback sale to when everything was $6.66, but at the same time, it's like, damn, I'm just gonna be like losing a bunch of money if I do that. But we'll see. Maybe I'll do it. Some stuff that I am planning on doing are like you know, samplers. I'll let you guys know that I have been working on one of those for the last couple of years. And then something that is good that you might be interested in is I have a membership or a subscription for Transylvanian, and it's $6.66 a month, and that gets you everything that I put out automatically, for free to your Bandcamp page or whatever. And on top of that, you get 20% off all physical purchases. So if you are to buy 1 to 2 tapes from me a month, which a lot of you do, you're instantly paying for your membership. Like, your membership is already paid off. And I'm putting out more than 2 tapes a month to try to justify, you know, the membership, because I, of course, want to offer some sort of value to people that are supporting me. So I think that that's something worth looking into if you are looking to become a big collector of what I'm doing. And, you know, I have almost a couple hundred tapes out. I probably have, I don't know, like 40 or 50 in right now that you can pick up. So, you know, you can save that way. And that also works for like clothing and merchandise as well. So that's a pretty good sale. But yeah, thanks for the questions today, and I'd love to answer some more. So if you have any more questions, fire them away, and I will do my best to include them in future videos. Awesome fucking shirt. Still got a couple of these left. Softest. You got discharge print on them. Really soft. I also will have, we got shorts and tank tops coming very, very soon. They're both going to be, they're like the same quality as these shirts. So they're super nice. And if you got the fossilization shirt, it's the same kind of quality, but it's going to be a tank top version, like one of the softest tank tops I've ever felt. And the shorts are really, really fucking nice. And we're just working on figuring out the placement, because we got some pretty cool ideas for the printing of these. And they do have front pockets and a back pocket, and they have an extra sewn in crotch so that they don't blow out. They're super comfortable. So yeah, be on the lookout.